newest appliances, look for sale events during major holidays like Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday. Then, the price for major and small appliances tend to be most discounted to encourage shoppers to spend more time and money shopping during their day off work. Get more info at bobvila.com and right here at home with me, Bob Vila.
Allstate has new lower auto rates. Nope. Allstate has new lower auto rates. Allstate has new lower auto rates. Allstate has new lower auto rates.
Allstate has new lower auto rates. There we go. For new lower auto rates, visit Allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Pros. Lowe's wants to help you keep working. That's why we're open for pro business hours 6 to 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday. You'll find the quantities you expect with dedicated pro associates and loaders to help you get what you need fast and load you up curbside. Now, more than ever, we know you need to win every single bid. You can count on Lowe's for special values on pro-trusted brands and savings when you buy in bulk. Save yourself a trip by shopping Lowe'sForPros.com, where we can ship thousands of items to your doorstep or to the job site. Lowe's is open and pro-ready.
OWN Radio.
Hi, folks. This is Dave Richards. You know, over the next couple of weeks, most of us are going to see a deposit in our bank accounts or a check from the federal government. The average family of 4 will receive $3,400. Now, if you need this money to pay your bills, that's what you should do. But if you're still getting paid, the money that's been sent to you is to help stimulate your local economy. We'd like to encourage you to spend that money locally to help our local economy first. Please don't go out running to big box stores where the money leaves town and leaves the state, as a matter of fact. Think of the local mom-and-pop businesses right here in the Blackstone Valley. And think local first. Buy local first. Support your friends and neighbors.
Do you remember the 20th century? If you do, you should be listening to Do You Remember weekday mornings on OWN Radio. Hi, everyone. This is John W., and you know what they say? If you don't use it, you lose it. So share your memories with me and your friends Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. That's the Do You Remember program right here and only on OWN, AM, and FM radio.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question to the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email at joe@onesocketradio.com. And now let's join the Coffee Ann panel on ON 1240, WOON One Socket Radio.
Thank you, and good morning to you. It is Coffee and Time on ON AM and FM, 1240 AM, 99.5 FM. This is Joe Callahan, and it's Thursday morning. It's April 30th. Thanks for joining us on Coffee and. Let's say hi to the Coffee and panel today. Attorney Bob Lotter is with us. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Nice to have you here with us as well. And we're being joined today, Bob, by Connor Houle. Connor, are you there as well?
Yes, good morning.
Very good. Connor Houle is one of the co-founders of Cuffs Counter, and they are established over there at the Millrace Kitchen on South Main Street in Market Square. So thanks for joining us this morning, Connor. Nice to have you with us.
No problem. Good to be here.
All right. Before we get to Connor, Bob, one question for you. You ready, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
With what the governor said yesterday in the shutting down of large groups and concerts and gatherings like that, is it all legal? Is it all constitutional? And maybe that's two different questions.
Man, I have a strange feeling that nobody ever comes to my office anymore. Now I know why. I sound like such a fool on the radio. I believe it's constitutional, but I do not have a basis for it, and I'd have to look it up for you.
Okay.
I don't have an answer a lot of the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it is, yes.
It is. Well, one other question then, because she says, well, if you're going to have a wedding with more than 50 people, basically you can't. And doesn't religion trump politics or government, or do I have that wrong?
The Constitution, I believe, says that the government cannot foster any particular religion. and it's frequently interpreted as a freedom of religion. Excuse me, but if you saw the item in the paper a couple of days ago where there was a large funeral in the Hasidic community down in New York,
Yes.
and the mayor of New York was very unhappy about it. People ended up getting arrested because they had violated the orders that he had put in place, limiting the number of people who could gather in crowds. I don't think that religion necessarily is never controllable. I believe that you can have circumstances where you, such as Mr. Mayor de Blasio did in New York, where you exercise some degree of restriction on the actual participation that way. Man, I will look this up again for you, too.
All right.
You give me homework every day. I'll get it back to you.
I'm keeping you busy because the courts are closed. So
That's true. That is true, man. Yes.
All right, Connor, thanks for joining us this morning. We wanted to talk to Connor about his establishment called Cuffs Counter. And you started this business with two other people. Tell us who your business partners are, Connor.
Yeah, so my business partners are my longtime friends, John Partlow and Richard LeClaire. We all kind of have our own areas of expertise, but we all work hand in hand on the marketing and food aspect of the business. But yeah, we're down on Main Street, Woonsocket. This is obviously a very new time for our business that we're navigating through every day.
Sure. Now, you're from Blackstone, correct?
Yes.
Are the three of you from Blackstone?
Yeah, me and John are, and Richard actually is from Woonsocket. But yeah, all in the area for our lives. Yep.
Very good. Now, the name, and you sell sandwiches and other side dishes as well. How did you come up with the name Cuffs Counter? And it's CUFS.
Correct. Yeah. So it's an acronym. Cuffs Counter stands for Crafting United Flavors from Scratch, and basically that's just our way of saying that we try to come up with new menu offerings all the time and taking a little bit of inspiration from around the globe and uniting flavors with our own twist and just kind of engaging our audience with new offerings that they might not have been able to have otherwise.
How many names did you go through before you decided on Cuffs?
Oh, geez. You know, it's tough. You think that naming a business is so easy, but then when it finally comes down to it, you get stuck with just trying to decide on something that works, and that's kind of what it came to.
Okay. So you're...
If I picture...
Go ahead, Bob.
If I picture Monument Square, where exactly is your restaurant located?
So do you know the new Christopher's restaurant?
Yes.
So basically, we're pretty much right across the street from them at that intersection, right on the corner. There's like River Island Park is right behind us. Here.
Okay.
Yeah, right
great.
next to the Museum of Working Culture. Yep.
Great, and easy parking too. Good.
Yes.
Now, Connor, you're one of the executive chefs there. So, do you have any formal training? Did you go to school for this?
Yes, I did go to Johnson & Wales in Providence a few years ago, and been worked in restaurants for most of my young career.
Okay, very good. Now, obviously, at this time, you're only doing pickup because you can't have anyone sitting down. Do you offer delivery, or is it just pickup only at Cuffs?
We do offer delivery. I will say it's been mostly pickup service, though. I don't know if it's people interested in getting out of their house. And then also we've been using some of those third-party delivery apps, and honestly, it's not always as great working with them as I'd like. So delivery is something we're looking to improve on, maybe doing solely by ourselves. But yeah, it's been mainly pickup every Friday and Saturday, 3 to 7:30.
How do we find your menu?
So you can find it right at cuffscounter.com, CUFFS, counter.com. And yeah, we have a full menu there. It can be updated weekly depending what we have available. Sometimes it fluctuates. But yeah, the full menu should be right up there. And
So
there's
basically,
also a link to order.
Okay, so I'm taking a look at it now, Connor, and you got the sandwiches and you got kids' meals. So everything made fresh from scratch right when the order comes in?
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I want to say that's, you think kids' meal is a little bit more expensive than, you might get at McDonald's, but everything is made from scratch, and even down to, the mayonnaise and the pickles that we put on our sandwiches, everything we do ourselves. So I think you really can taste the difference, and it's a labor of love. A lot more time goes into it than people might think.
So you're actually making your own house mayonnaise? You don't get it out of a jar?
Absolutely. Yeah, we make it all ourselves.
How long does it take to make mayonnaise?
Well, I've been making it so much that I can do it in 5 minutes or less.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it just tastes better. It really comes through in the end, a final product.
Now, how long have you been operating out of the Mill Race Kitchen there in Market Square?
I would say we've been renting space there maybe a little over a year now at least. We've moved around to a couple of kitchens in Woonsocket, but I think the Mill Race we've been for over a year now, and we've really made ourselves at home. It works great for us.
You have a nice little following of customers that come by every week?
We do, yeah. People that we've, befriended for the first couple of years that we've done this, now that we aren't able to get out to them, they've been coming to us. And now we're just trying to basically get the community of Woonsocket to find out that we're there, just get a little bit more focus on that there's a new restaurant in town.
Gotcha. Now, do you have a signature sandwich that's at the top of the list?
Yeah, definitely. Ever since we started, we've been serving the day one sandwich. It's called. It's fried chicken, but basically it's a scratch-made breaded chicken thigh that we fry, usually using locally made bread with our scratch-made pickles and mayo. And I never really thought that sandwich was anything too special when we first started making it, but I definitely can't take it off the menu now. It's something that people follow us all over the state to try.
You never know what's going to be popular with the customers, right? What you may think is great, you never know.
Yep, but they're right. Whatever they want, I'll have to keep making for them.
Sure thing. If they keep coming back for it, you got to keep it. Now, what, in terms of side dishes, what do you offer at Cuff's Counter?
Well, it can vary. We've got chips with house-made dips that we offer. We have some scratch-made hummus with bread that I make from scratch every time. Mm-hmm. We have just simple stuff like fried potatoes, like French fries that people like to have on side with their sandwich. And we'll do even more, a little bit fancier stuff like appetizers. We've been making fried potatoes with a scratch-made chicken sausage with cheese and sauce on it, too. That's a little bit more of a meal, but it's good to share with the family.
Mm-hmm. Connor, where do when you do delivery, how far out do you go? Do you just keep it to the city of Woonsocket? Do you go out to neighboring towns?
With the apps that we use, I believe their service has a 15-mile radius of how far they can deliver it. Basically, when you're on the site ordering and you enter your address, it will say whether or not you're in the delivery zone. But, yeah, that's usually about the cutoff.
All right. Now, in terms of being able to order your food, is it only done online, or can you call your restaurant?
You can call in. Online ordering is the easiest for us right now, just because it's a one-stop shop where you can place your order and pay in advance, so that we're not really handling any cash right now. And then when you come in, your food's ready, and you can just grab it and go. There's no contact, essentially.
So you just
but you can always call in.
Okay. And what's the phone number to call in?
let me just double check on that real.
Okay. While he's double checking on that,
So the phone number is 77.
Hey, you kind of faded away. You faded away there, Connor. Can you say it again? Bob, are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. 774?
Yeah.
9705. Sorry, I just didn't have it on hand at the second.
I'm glad you gave the phone number, Connor, because one or two
I
people
got it
are
right here, guys. 774-571-9705.
There we go. Okay.
And, of course, there's a website, too, cuffscounter.com.
Yes.
Yeah, but for some of us older guys, it's nice to have the phone number because we're not as computer
Connor, you see, we do our homework before we do the broadcasts.
I love it. I love it.
At least we try to, anyway. Bob, you're still getting used to the phone, right?
Yeah, it's when I pick it up, it doesn't have the nice little voice that says number please anymore. I miss that.
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. So
Bob, that lady retired.
Oh,
Give her a break. She was 103 years old.
Oh.
I got a nice little story, too, Joe, when you're ready for a story about what happened to a 100-year-old lady in the city last night. But, all right, let me get out of here because you're still talking with Connor. 774 area code 571-9705. Friday and Saturday evenings at Mill Race.
Thanks, Dave. Now, Connor, when the whole COVID-19 thing comes to an end, will you? I'm sure you'll be expanding your hours. Do you have room there to have people come and sit down and eat inside the Mill Race kitchen?
There is. It's a really beautiful space, and we would like to use it more. There's actually a lower level with tables that we could use as a full-service restaurant. It's just something we'd have to figure out a little bit more because each space at that kitchen, because we don't own it, we have to rent out each space. So we just have to figure out the pricing on all of that. But yeah, it's really, we would like to expand more and have more open hours. It's really just figuring it out day by day what we're doing. Actually, all three of us work full-time jobs before this all happened, so that's why we don't have.
That's a smart way to do it, Connor. Connor, that's a smart way to do it. This is Dave. You got to snowball the thing up. That's really nice. And a lot of good businesses started off as part-time ventures, and then were able to get their legs underneath them.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's. I mean, we're all kind of young guys, but we all have families and bills to pay, so we just have to work at it a little bit at a time.
Very smart. We've seen a lot of others struggle by going in with both feet and borrowing a lot of money and stuff like that, and then things don't go right, and they have a failure on their hands. But when you can snowball something like this, and Mill Race is a great, it's an approved kitchen, and it's a great bunch of people to work with. And I'm sure they'll fit your needs for the short term. Then you'll be able to hopefully get your own place and do some good work that way. Looking forward to checking out your sandwiches there.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it's having an incubator kitchen like that is something very new, but I definitely don't think we would be where we are without it. It's a great resource for small businesses.
Well, go ahead, Joe.
Well, I was going to take a break. You want to make one more comment, Dave?
No, I don't know. Were we going to release Connor so he can get back to his day?
Do you need to go, Connor?
I have a few minutes if you have any other questions. But
okay, no problem. We'll hang around then.
Yeah, let's bring Connor back. We're going to take our first break here on the Coffee and program. And if you have any comments or questions, call them in 766-1240 or email them in to me, Joe at woonsockеtradio.com.
I'm here with Kara Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency. Kara, what can you tell me about the insurance industry?
The industry changes so frequently due to many different factors, things like increased weather-related storms, the invention of smartphones and social media, which increase the amount of distracted drivers, even the cost of cars. Today, people are buying $30,000, $40,000, even $50,000 cars with every kind of option you can think of. All these things impact the insurance industry, and it's important to keep current.
You're in good hands with Allstate and Kara and Celeste Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency, 125 Eddie Dowling Highway, across from Dowling Village in North Smithfield, 765-5000.
Our business is truly a referral business, and we have built it based on our premier service level and commitment to what we do. If you are looking for personalized service with people who care, that would be us.
Because of the COVID-19 situation, the auctions at Trudell's Auction Gallery have been suspended until further notice. However, estate liquidation services are still available from Trudell's Auction Gallery. Be sure to check their website, TrudellAuction.net, for details. When the crisis is over, the auction will return every Monday to Trudell's Auction Gallery in the Bellingham Marketplace, South Main Street, Bellingham. Trudell's Auction Gallery thank you all and remind you to please remain vigilant and use all precautions to remain safe. The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON, AM, and FM.
It is Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder. Good morning to you, Bob.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. And we're also talking with Connor Houle, one of the co-founders of Cuffs Counter. They're located in the Millrace Kitchen in Market Square, right here in downtown Woonsocket. They're open on Fridays and Saturdays from 3 to 7:30, making some pretty unique sandwiches. And Dave, you had a question for Connor.
Yeah, I did, and before we took the break, Connor, can you hear me well?
Yes.
All right. Connor, I need the story behind the story on your sandwiches here. Now, we keep talking about how they're made from scratch and everything else like that. Can we delve into that a little bit more detail? Like you mentioned that you make your own mayonnaise there. Now, I'm a fan of mayonnaise. Absolutely. I like it. It's great on a sandwich for me. And you make your own mayonnaise. What goes into making mayonnaise? And then I'm going to ask you to tell us about the ingredients on some of your sandwiches and kind of go down the menu.
Sure. I mean, I can't agree with you more. Mayonnaise is, I'd say, my number one condiment. It helps everything better. But I know some people out there might not like mayonnaise, but I'll tell you, when you make it from scratch, it really does make all the difference. It's pretty simple too. It starts off with just egg yolks, and you blend oil into it with a little bit of lemon juice and seasonings, and when it all comes together, you have that nice.
That's what gives it that tang, that lemon oil, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, let's talk about the menu now. Let's just talk 3 or 4 different sandwiches here, some of your best sellers, and tell us how you make them. What would be your best-selling sandwich at this point?
So one that we've been doing recently is called the Gorny de Jager, and it's a little bit of a funny name, but it's kind of German-inspired. So that is a take on our fried chicken sandwich that we sell, but this time we put a base of a mashed potato on the sandwich, actually. So it's like a creamy mashed potato spread that is topped with that fried chicken, and then we make a beef-based gravy that goes on top of it. So it's almost like having mashed potatoes and gravy with fried chicken.
I was going to say that. It's almost like, I mean, why is it a sandwich kind of thing? But
it's a meal.
And then tell me about, that sounds very interesting, but tell me about the bread that you use. I imagine you use different types of bread for different sandwiches because that's a necessity. But tell me about the bread that you use. How do you make, because, bread makes the sandwich. They always say that.
It very much does. We use a brioche bun for that.
Okay.
We actually, in Pawtucket, there was a bakery called Red Box. They're kind of a young business as well. We were using them, but currently they're closed due to the pandemic.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, it's something. It's part of the challenge right now. Even just finding ingredients every week can be a bit of a challenge during this time. But we're finding a way to make it work.
Cool.
But yeah, it kind of keeps us on our toes. That's another reason why our menu offerings can change, because we never know what we're going to find at the store when we go shopping these days.
Well, how will people know what's on the menu that day when they call you up?
When you do look at our website,
Right.
it has the most accurate information.
As you update that for every weekend, huh?
Yes, and we do. Right now, we're trying to keep it mostly the same. If there's anything different, it might just have an item taken off the menu. But
Sure.
for the most part, whatever's up there is what we have available.
That's cuffscounter.com. All right, tell me about another sandwich, Connor. What's your next most popular sandwich? And how do you make it?
So another one we've been selling recently is a little bit more of a cold cut sandwich. So we have it's called the bucket seat, and that is a roast beef and turkey sandwich. And we actually make that ourselves too. So I have a garlic and herb roast beef that we make ourselves.
Oh
and
boy, that sounds great already.
Oh yeah, and maple brown sugar turkey that we roast ourselves and we slice it ourselves. So even just making your own cold cuts, it makes the difference. So we just put that on a sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and like an onion jam and some brie cheese, and it's great.
That's
Connor, I'm looking at your description of the bucket seat. It also says it comes with cranberry mustard. Is that something that you guys have created? Because I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to say that I take all credit for it and made it, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. We combine some cranberry sauce with yellow mustard and some other seasonings.
Sounds like a sweet and sour deal.
Exactly, yeah.
That sweet and sour always brings out the flavor, Joe.
Yes, it does.
All right, pick out another sandwich and tell us how you make it there, Connor.
You're just trying to make us all very hungry, Dave.
Yes, well, he's gone way past that for me already.
Oh, okay.
And I've got to wait till tomorrow.
Well, let me see here. We have one other sandwich that might not be for everyone, but it's our veggie burger, basically, because I know there might be some vegetarians out there.
There's a lot of interest in that now, yeah.
Yeah, we actually make our own scratch-made veggie patty out of using just chickpeas and quinoa and some other seasonings. And I mean, honestly, the three of us owners, we've been carnivores our whole lives, but I love that sandwich. I think it's very filling and tasty. We put that on a brioche bun as well.
Now you say it's filling. That's interesting because in the few excursions I've had toward vegetarian dishes, I've always found that I felt hungry soon afterwards. You're saying that it's a filling sandwich?
Absolutely. As someone who loves my meat intake, I would say that is a filling sandwich.
Cool.
All right.
Well, that's very. You've done a fine job describing these things. Now, Connor, let's get to the bottom line. We all know from what you've been saying here that we can imagine in our minds that these are absolute top of the line, first class sandwiches. However, now what's the deal now on the price? Obviously, we expect to pay a little more for quality, but can we afford it?
Well, I think so. We've been. Actually, in the time we've been doing this, a lot of the orders coming through have been for full families. So it seems like people are ordering for their entire family. And, I do understand it's a little bit more expensive than some other places.
Well, it has to be, really.
Yeah,
but you get what you pay for sometimes, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you hear me listing off all those different ingredients going into the sandwich. I just have to be able to afford to put all that in there.
Sure.
And so, but I assure you that with each sandwich, we really think about the different layers and the flavors going in there. So for us to be able to make it from scratch and give you the best taste possible, the price will be a little bit higher, but I assure you it's worth it. We've had lots of people who return time after time who might have been a skeptic in the beginning.
All right, and we can look that up on the website at cuffscounter.com.
Dave, I'm looking at their website right now.
Yeah, I don't have that open here.
There's a picture of one of the sandwiches, and it looks like it's one of the fried chicken sandwiches. And Connor, it's just huge. So I'm looking at it. I'm sure people, will cut it in half, and now they have two meals. So therefore, price is perfect. If you do it that way,
we've had lots of people split their sandwiches. Yeah.
All right. So And so now the pricing becomes very reasonable if you're getting 2 meals out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way to think of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
and it looks delicious, Dave.
I have to get online. I've got all these computer screens here, but they're all in like encoders and TV screens and playout units. So I'll have to get to something where I can actually browse around on the internet. I have the non-browsing computers open now for security reasons. Well, Connor, this has been a really interesting conversation. You represent yourself very well, and your partners as well. We can't wait to hear of your successes as you go along. And kudos to you and your friends for sticking with it and actually expanding your offerings here during the pandemic. Lots of times adversity is your friend. It gets you to places where you might not have gotten otherwise. And as I say, as a businessman myself now, I took a different path. I actually purchased the business that I had grown to be a key person, a key worker at, and been in business now for quite a number of years since then. But oh my goodness, I just realized it's 30 years. But anyway, there's different paths to get to owning your own business, and you've selected one that offers you an awful lot of chances for imagination. Like, for instance, when I bought my business, because it had been established for over 30 years before I purchased it, there were a lot of things I better not change, otherwise my regular customers would be very upset. And that gives you a little stifling on the creativity. You guys start from scratch and you're building up from nothing, and it gives you a chance to be as creative as possible. Never forget that, and always remember to do something a little different, and you'll do fine.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, and yeah, I feel the same way. Again, this is a totally unprecedented time. I have no idea what the future might hold, but we're going to keep on trucking and hope for the best and keep doing what we're doing.
Cuffs Counter is open Fridays and Saturdays from 3 to 7:30, 3 in the afternoon to 7:30 at night for takeout and delivery. You can look them up online at cuffscounter.com, and their phone number is 774-571-9705. Connor Houle, thanks for joining us this morning on the Coffee and program.
Best of luck, pal.
Of course. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Time for the forecast right now, which is being sponsored by CVS. Today, cloudy skies. We will have showers, mainly before noontime. High temperature today will be near 57. Could be windy today with wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. Tonight, showers likely. The rain can be heavy at times. Low temperature tonight around 49. Wind gusts as high as 23 miles per hour. Friday's weather, showers mainly before 1 p.m. The rain can be heavy at times on Friday. High will be near 64. Another windy day on Friday. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, low of 48. Saturday, a mostly sunny day with a high near 65. And Sunday, another sunny day and a high temperature near 70. And currently, outside the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, where we have cloudy skies and 44 degrees. Get free 1 to 2 day delivery of prescriptions and store essentials from CVS. Visit them online or call your local CVS to learn more. Restrictions apply. Coffee and program will continue. Please stay tuned. Takeout and delivery has resumed at River Falls Restaurant. They'll be open Tuesday through Sunday from 11:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Besides their regular menu items, they now have new additions at River Falls, including pizzas, steaks, 8-ounce filet mignon, and 12-ounce grilled ribeye, plus veal entrees and new reduced-priced appetizers. You can still get Ma Glockner's chicken every Sunday, but you need to pre-order that before Friday. Go to River Falls' Facebook page to see the new menu items. You can order through Grubhub or Uber Eats for delivery, and for takeout, call River Falls at 401-235-9026. 235-9026. River Falls Restaurant, Market Square, Woonsocket.
Have you had it with poor service? When was the last time you were treated like a valued customer where you bank? Navigant Credit Union feels you should be treated better than a customer. When you go to Navigant, you're treated like a friend and a member of the family, because that's just what you are at Navigant Credit Union. When you're a member of Navigant Credit Union, you're a part owner of the whole place. And that's a big difference between the big banks and Navigant Credit Union. And it's a difference you can feel, too, every time you walk in. Visit Navigant Credit Union today at any one of their many Rhode Island locations and see what it's like to be appreciated. Navigant Credit Union. Member NCUA.
Lou Mandeville here to tell you the only place to get your local high school and college scores, as well as the Pats, Bruins, Celtics, and Sox is on my morning sports reports. And they are right here on ON 1240, Monday through Friday on the Morning Fun Show.
Coffee in on ON, AM and FM. This is
Joe,
Joe
I just have to interrupt here.
Yes,
of
Dave?
course, that's a recorded message from Lou. Obviously, the news from the Patriots is that they're not playing, but they're messing around with players. Did you hear the Red Sox will be giving back money now?
I did hear that yesterday, that for games that were supposed to be played in April and May, they're going to give refunds.
Right. But if you bought your tickets from a third-party agency...
Yeah? You don't get anything?
Right.
Well,
if you bought your tickets from the Boston Red Sox ticket office, they'll give you a refund, or you can swap it for a seat for the 2021 season.
Okay. Well, that's nice of them. But if you went, like you said, through somebody else, you'd have to go back to them.
Right.
That makes sense. Well,
always go to the source.
Best of luck there. All right. Joining us also here on the Coffee and Program, Bob Lauder. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
All right. And is Dan Keys with us?
Somebody is talking to Denise on the business line. I don't know who it is, Joe, but other than that, I have no record of Dan being ready to go.
All right. Well, maybe Denise will tell you. In the meantime, let's get a first message from Bob Lauder and his law office.
Thank you. Good morning. As reports of the COVID-19 hospitalizations continue to rise, it appears to be more and more imperative that all of us engage in some basic life planning. One of the most severe consequences of COVID-19 may be the inability of a patient to communicate to medical providers any information concerning their desires and decisions of their care. The reports seem to indicate that the individuals stricken with the virus and needing hospitalizations may become comatose and not able to make any meaningful response to questions of the medical staff. Now is the time to prepare for such an event. Now is the time to prepare a power of attorney for health care purposes, sometimes called a health care proxy. Preparation of this should not be difficult. The forms are available on the website of the Rhode Island Department of Health. The forms will ask you, who do you want to empower with the authority to make medical decisions if you can't make them on your own? Are those individuals agreeable to accept this responsibility? What is the individual's name, address, and telephone number? And who do you want to make decisions if your first choice is unavailable to the medical personnel? Once the form is completed, it should be signed, either in the presence of a notary public or two individuals who are not related to you, not employed by a health care provider, not inheriting from you. Then give copies of the forms to your agent, your physicians, individuals you've nominated, and members of your family. In the event you'd like to discuss this or other legal matters with me, please call my office for a telephone conference. My phone number is 762-4550. My name is Bob Lauder, and the disclaimer, the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license to certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
And if you go to Bob's office, Joe, you can go up in the choir loft office, which I always find very inspiring.
Actually, it was not the choir loft. That was a creation of John O'Hearn, who was the architect who changed the building from being a church into an office structure. The man has fantastic ideas and utilized space in ways that I would never have imagined.
Yeah, don't you have a working office in the basketball court that he put in there too?
Yes.
Amazing.
I don't play much basketball anymore, but yes, basketball court in the office as well.
Yeah. Well, there's a working office. All law firms have that. They have a working office, and they have a reception office.
Yes.
It's we have that. We have that here. We have the working office, which is called Tech Center, downstairs, and upstairs is the bullpen. We don't take visitors there because that's where the heavy lifting gets done.
I like those terms. Yeah, that's neat. Let me ask you a baseball question.
Okay,
I heard that they may be considering playing baseball games in Florida and in Arizona,
right,
and in Texas.
Right.
And in
Texas, would that be for the entire season? And why did they choose those particular states?
For the first question, the answer is yes. and it would be for the whole season. Why? I can only believe it. That's got the best weather, and there'll be very limited rainouts down in that part of the country. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Now, do they have the facilities to do it? Do they have big stadiums for baseball?
Oh yeah.
Well, there are some big stadiums. That's also Florida and Arizona is where the spring training takes place. So there's smaller stadiums there, but there's also a lot more facilities to play.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure about Texas though. They don't have.
Oh, there's
spring training.
plenty in Texas. Depends on which half of the state you're in. The half with the grass and the rolling hills, or the half with the scrub brush and dirt and rocks.
And that way you get to keep the players basically in isolation if they're staying in just one state. And they're not flying all over the country. That's the only thing I can think of there.
They won't have the number of fans, though, to attend a game because they're in relatively isolated areas.
Well, that's been the key problem here. How do you safely bring in tens of thousands of people to watch a ball game? So I think that much they've given up on. But they have to have a safe place for the players to be, for the players to play, and then they're going to do their best with TV revenue.
Yeah, and we'll just play without fans, and which, could be interesting.
Well, they can have small groups of fans.
You'd actually be able to hear, what the players are saying on the field, which could also prove interesting.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, see what they actually say. I mean, you can't hear that now because the crowd noise is so loud, but it would be interesting to hear, as players tell other players, hey, shift over, or take another 3 feet to your left because he hits that way, or something like that.
Or your mama wears combat boots.
Or you got to watch out for that as well.
Yeah,
talking will be coming up as well. So, the TV revenue will still be big, and people will watch it. But I don't know how, if they do allow some fans in. Let's say they're playing in Tampa Bay. Will the people living in that area want to go see the Phillies and the Mets play each other in Tampa Bay? I don't know. I don't know what kind of crowd they would draw for something like that.
Now, with baseball, do they have the same number of games that they play on television? Because I see football on television frequently, but I don't recall seeing baseball on television very often anymore.
Well, that's probably because football utilizes the over-the-air networks more than baseball does these days. With 162 games, is that what it is nowadays, or is it 182 games? I've forgotten.
162.
Okay. 160. So with all those games, Bob, over-the-air broadcast time is extremely expensive. Ask me. I pay the bills. And cable time is much cheaper. That's why you see all these stupid, dumb programs on that couldn't draw flies for an audience. They put them on cable or on the internet because the cost of putting them on is so small. Over the air, the costs are extremely substantial. So on football, because they play much fewer games and they play them all, everything's a spotlight. If it's Thursday, it's the only game that's being played. If it's Monday, it's the only game being played. Sunday, well, okay, there's a bunch of games being played, but they're all like regionalized. So the deal here is that baseball has pretty much retreated to pay cable, as has hockey. But football, with 16 to 20 games, they're still on the over-the-air. That's why you see them more, Bob.
Okay.
And Bob, if you were to, like on a Saturday, let's say, like a late Saturday afternoon, if you were to go to like a quote-unquote sports bar, or if Twin River Casino was open and went to their sports betting establishment, you would be able to see every single game. Because they all play them at the same time, basically.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
hey, guys.
Is being played. Yes, Dave.
Dan Keys has freed himself up. I'm sure he's busy doing something. Let me put him into the system over here. Welcome him to the show. All right. Okay, something's gone wrong there. That's on the exclusive hold. I think I lost Bobby.
Bobby there?
I think I lost Bob. we'll have to get him back, and now we got to get them both back, Joe. Good time for a break, I'd say, because something went wrong when I hit that button.
All right, we'll take an early break right now. We'll get another message from Bob Blotter when he comes back. More Coffee Ants coming up. Stay tuned.
Chan's Fine Oriental Dining of Woonsocket serves a wide selection of chicken, seafood, pork, and steak entrees, including combination platters, all flavored in one of the 4 most popular schools of Chinese cuisine. Try something familiar or something new. Some of their signature entrees include chicken with crispy noodles and fresh vegetables, honey walnut shrimp, or Chan's poo-poo platter. And don't forget their award-winning wonton soup. Chan's is available for parties up to 125 persons, as well as catering for indoor or outdoor events. Chan's Fine Oriental Dining, 267 Main Street, Woonsocket. Open for lunch daily at 11:30. For reservations, call 765-1900. Be sure to check their upcoming variety of great jazz and blues performers. Chan's also welcomes takeout. When you want to know what's coming up in your town, there's news, as it's reported, and there are public notices. Public notices, also called legal ads, are placed by cities and towns in newspapers to alert you of important meetings that'll be coming up soon. At the Valley Breeze newspapers, you'll find public notices right up front, generally on page 4. They aren't tiny, hard-to-read ads in the back of the paper. In the Breeze, ads are easy to find and read. We want you to know. In addition, all public notices are placed online at valleybreeze.com, where they remain posted until the public meeting is passed. It's just the right thing to do. If you live in Cumberland, Lincoln, North Smithfield, or another local town, you'll find public notices in the Breeze every week and online at valleybreeze.com. Go to the homepage and click Public Notices. You'll find them all. Breeze public notices that will keep you informed, ahead of the crowd, in the paper and online. Thanks for noticing.
Hi, folks. This is Dave Richards. You know, over the next couple of weeks, most of us are going to see a deposit in our bank accounts or a check from the federal government. The average family of 4 will receive $3,400. Now, if you need this money to pay your bills, that's what you should do. But if you're still getting paid, the money that's been sent to you is to help stimulate your local economy. We'd like to encourage you to spend that money locally to help our local economy first. Please don't go out running to big box stores where the money leaves town and leaves the state, as a matter of fact. Think of the local mom-and-pop businesses right here in the Blackstone Valley. And think local first.
Thanks, Dave.
Buy local first. Support your friends and neighbors. Thank you.
And it's Coffee In on ON, AM, and FM. I'm Joe Callahan, and we have our people back in the system, as we like to call it. So Bob Lauder's here. Hi, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, and we're also being joined by town manager from the town of Blackstone, Dan Keys. Good morning to you, Dan.
Good morning. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for having me.
All right, before we jump into – good. Before we jump in with Dan, Bob, we took a break early, so let's get a second message from your law office, and then we'll start talking with Dan.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. A few minutes ago, I spoke with you about powers of attorney for medical purposes. The concept of powers of attorney are sometimes confusing. Recently, an individual told me that they did not worry about what would happen to their assets after their death because they'd given an adult child power of attorney. The individual imagined that this would grant to the child the authority to collect and disperse all of their assets after their death. Please understand that while a power of attorney can be a powerful instrument and can grant to someone else extraordinary power over your assets, that power does not extend after your death. Powers of attorney become null and void upon the death of the grantor. Should you possess assets in your name alone at the time of your death, whether in bank accounts or real estate, in the absence of a well-crafted last will and testament, your assets will be distributed in accordance with the laws of intestacy of the state in which you reside. A few minutes ago, I suggested that you could secure health care proxy forms off the Department of Health website on the Internet. I do not suggest that anyone rely on the Internet forms to create a last will and testament. Until a few weeks ago, I used to illustrate this point by suggesting that none of us wants to cut their own hair, but rather have it done by a professional. And probably during this COVID-19 crisis, we're reflecting in the mirror each morning on the true value of those professionals. In the event you may think my office may be assistance to you in this or other legal matters, please telephone my office for a telephone conference. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer, Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. All right. Dan Keys, town manager from the town of Blackstone. Once again, thanks for joining us today. So how are you holding up? How's the town of Blackstone holding up through all of this, Dan, I should really say?
Well, we're doing all right. I mean, I've had some layoffs. Our receipts are off compared to what they were last year, so we're going to limp into the end of the fiscal year 2020 on June 30th. And the big question is that we're moving forward, and I have another budget meeting this morning right after I hang up from this call with my town accountant and finance people, where we're going to be cutting an additional $500,000 out of next year's budget.
Do you know where you're going to be cutting that from?
Yes, we do. We have a pretty good idea. I know that we've already, on our DPW construction line item, we're going to take about $300,000 out of that already. I've got, we got some line items and the employment line items that we're going to be cutting. And it's just one of those things. We just the other day I met with the chairman of the library trustees along with the director of the library, and they laid off all except one of their part-time people. I mean, that's a lot of people. So that's those are the things that we have to do to get through the rest of this fiscal year. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts just 2 weeks ago the treasurer borrowed $1 billion for, as I understand it, operational costs to get through part of the month of April and part of May. It looks like they're going to be borrowing another $1 billion, and they've told us that they're going to be about $4.4 billion short. So that's an impact on the budget, clear across on unrestricted general government money coming back to the Commonwealth, about 14%. So that affects your operations.
Sure.
So there you go. Yeah. So, it affects everything. And, people think this stimulus money that's coming from the Congress of the United States, which, by the way, I understand, that first round of that money that went back to the municipalities, those were municipalities that had populations of over 500,000 people.
Okay.
So, you have to understand that. People don't. So I think the second round, as we heard from the chairman of Ways and Means, Richard Neal, where he said it's now that the second round will impact the smaller communities or the smaller cities and counties throughout the United States. So those are all things that are playing into this. And of course, the big thing is that the federal monies are going back to the Commonwealth or to the states. That they'll be dispersing it as we understand it. But again, that's all moving targets, as you know. And this is uncharted waters that no one has been in before. So we're all working together. No matter what your political affiliation is, you've got to get through this. So there you go.
Now, do you town hall in Blackstone, has that been closed to the public?
We have closed. Yes, it's closed to the public. Just essential personnel, and I hate to say non-essential, but essential personnel are in. Everybody's wearing a mask. We've already had the place cleaned down once. And we have had our meetings remotely. We'll have another Board of Selectmen meeting remotely in call-ins, things like that on Tuesday. We're moving forward with our public hearing for the Finance Committee, which will be done remotely, and we're going to Zoom that meeting. As I understand it, we're moving to finalize that. And then we're going to move ahead with our town meeting on May 26th, because I think one of the things we don't want to do is not have an operational budget in place for FY21, which is July 1st. Otherwise, you're working on a 1/12 budget, and
right.
That's just cumbersome, because you still got to pay the bills. The health insurance costs go up, retirement costs go up, your insurance costs are going up, your property and casualty and things like that, and you got to pay them. So, and we have people that, we just have to move forward to make sure we get this done. And then on capital items, we're moving that out until October to see what kind of monies we have. So that's where we are right now.
How are you going to conduct a town meeting, Dan?
Well, that's a good question because we're in the process of doing that. Now. We are going to, as you know, you can't have any more than 25 people in a hall.
Right.
And we're going to do it remotely. We also have an area outside where the high school is, where people could congregate, be 6 feet away from each other. We'll have a large TV screen out there, and everybody's going to have to wear masks. And it's an abbreviated meeting. I want to make that clear. There's no major items on the warrant. We have 10 warrant articles. They're all generic because those, as I say, the first 8 of them are those that just have to be passed to run government. Then the omnibus budget, which is our operating budget, there's nothing large in there at all, other just to get by. And then we have to pay what we call our OPEB, other pension employee benefits, which we have to pay to the Commonwealth the first week of July. So we'll be paying that. That's about $250,000. That was voted on, by the way, by the Finance Committee of the Board of Selectmen about 5 years ago to pay that on an annual basis so we can take care of our unfunded liability regarding other pension employee benefits, and that should be paid out through 2027. So that's
Dan,
where we are.
The governor of Massachusetts has extended the stay-at-home order to May 18th. If he extends it again, will that affect your town meeting on May 26th? Because it's so close.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's a discussion we're going to have with the Board of Health and with the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee. But right now, it seems like everybody is on the same page where let's just get this done.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is people will be able to call in and we're going to be able to Zoom it. So, and, look, the United States Supreme Court is meeting on Zoom now.
Yeah.
It's, different committees at least on the legislative side here in Massachusetts, they're discussing that now. As late as this morning, I read the Boston Globe where the Republican end of the program did not want to do it that way, but they're working that out. And the other thing is everybody's Zooming now in the sense to get things done.
Right.
Evidently, that's going to be a new way of life. And by the way, the governor of the Commonwealth, who I think, by the way, has done a superb job on what he's doing here. He's really kept it all together. He said the other day in one of his news conferences, he says, I've got 18,000 people that work for the state that are all working from home or from remote areas. And now we're going to take a look after this is over as to how we operate, how we function. So I think that's important. You know what I mean? And I think we're all going to do that. I've got people working remotely also. So there you go.
All right. Tell me if this is true, Dan. I believe I read it a couple of days ago. Did the Blackstone Board of Health vote that you must wear a mask or a face covering when entering every business in Blackstone?
Yes. As of May 4th.
Okay.
That will be
so it's coming up. Okay.
Enforced. Correct. And look at, I think you just saw the mayor of Boston this morning. I heard him on the news this morning say, look at everybody. You owe it to each other. Just to everybody hunker down and, stay healthy, and wear a mask. I wear a mask. Everybody's wearing a mask. Whoever thought I got a fit of laughing the other day going in the grocery store? Here I was with a hat, sunglasses, and a mask on. 2 months ago, they would have called the cops.
That's right. You'd be suspicious. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing right now.
When you
the vice president won't be purchasing anything in Blackstone then.
No, I
saw
that
right.
President.
I thought that was. By the way, that's just stupid. I don't know why. There you go.
Dan, when you talk to the business people in the town of Blackstone, how are they feeling? Are they very concerned?
Everybody is. Look, revenues are down. That's why we're cutting. We're looking, as I said earlier in the program. Look at just take the meals tax. We're getting whacked on that. We're only going to be collecting less than 50% of what we usually collect, and because it's the winter, but then all of a sudden spring comes along, and people are spending more money. It's one of those things, and kids are out of school the last month of June, and people are going in and out of restaurants. They're not doing that right now. There's liquor's not being sold. And then the small businesses. So I think the only ones that are really surviving are the liquor stores. You know what I'm saying, in the sense where, holy mackerel, if they ever close those, I think there'd be a revolution. But
that's why they didn't close.
Our revenues are down. That's right. I mean, our revenues are down. I mean, there's just no gasoline. I mean, the gas tax. No one's driving. The legislature, in its infinite wisdom, 12 weeks ago, raised the gas tax. That's great, but guess what? Nobody's driving anymore. So that money's not coming in that the state relied on to give back to the cities and towns to pay for roads. So that's where we are. And we've been instructed, very simple, through the different conferences that we have, is that look at the powers to be, Chairman of Ways and Means, both the Senate and the House, along with the State Treasurer, the Secretary of Administration and Finance, have said, look, we're going to hit transportation and we're going to hit education, so get ready. So, and those are two big things that's in our budget. So if we're not getting reimbursed on that, we're going to have to find the money somewhere.
Okay.
So there you go.
Speaking of education, Dan, have you spoken to the school superintendent and how things are going with the school department with the distance learning?
I have. And they've done a good job, and they've got a business to run. The children still have to go to school. Right now they're working remotely. Are those things going to change? Yeah, they're going to have to. But I mean, again, that's all evolving now. Are we going to fund the schools? Yes. We have it in the budget to fund the schools, fully fund them through FY21. And how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to be looking at our free cash figure. Our free cash figure right now is $1.3 million. We're going to take that, and we're not going to. I'm only going to be taking a portion of that to fund my general fund operating budget, and there are no capital items. So I'm holding back over $600,000 in abeyance from free cash in the event, and I think we all see it. I mean, even Wall Street is telling us, is that, you're not going to have the resources to be able to pay these things. So I know we're going to be taking our free cash to apply the monies for the operation of our budget and the operation of the town through FY21. And then we're going to have a different discussion moving to FY22. So there you
Absolutely.
go. That's how far ahead we are now,
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the program. So, Dan Keys, from the town manager from the town of Blackstone, thanks for joining us on the Coffee and program, and best of luck as you muddle through this whole thing and try to get the best answer.
That's great. You guys stay safe, stay healthy. All right.